Knock, knock. Who's there? It's, of course, the Three Musketeers. We're back on your TV screen, like Benga would say, like... I don't want to say what you always say. No. Say we're back like bacteria. Can you imagine? As if it's...
Yeah, bacteria is something we're always...
Anything with there's a positive side to bacteria. You need it for... Your body needs some for form guts, of bacteria.
Yeah, but anything but fungi or amoeba.
Maybe I believe Benga's not responding to that, but...
You know, when I left school, I realized the pronunciation is not amoeba.
It's Sulis.
It's amoeba.
Yeah, well, Sulis.
Amoeba.
I used to watch one of my favorite programs on TV. Then we didn't have competition. It was NTA. It was called Diction Avenue. They told me that it's not police.
You're showing your age now.
It's place.
It's place.
It's not police.
Okay.
Let Amroba be chasing.
As
be shouting
in Nigerian English, and the pronunciation of in Nigerian English
is police.
It's police now.
In Diction Avenue, they said it's not pure water, it's pure water. Diction Avenue actually inspired me to become a broadcaster.
Guys, you're on there, guys. Hey guys, welcome to Breakfast Central. Away from all the behind-the-scenes shenanigans. My name is Joe Hansen. Benga is here.
And I'm Benga Borowa, and she is...
Judith TV. A very good morning to you and welcome to Breakfast Central right here for a Thursday. It's a hump of the week Thursday, or rather should I say an almost Friday Thursday. We've got quite the lineup for you as always. You've got politics, in-depth analysis, and not to forget your front pages of the newspapers, the daily newspapers, from issues in Rivers State as well as issues of the EFCC. So let's get down with our wake-up conversations this morning, starting off with Outrage. You most likely have seen the viral videos that are circulating on social media. Outrage has erupted in Akwa Ibom State after EFCC operatives allegedly assaulted doctors and staff at the University of Uyo Teaching Hospital, UUTH, while attempting to verify a medical report. EFCC operatives allegedly stormed the University of Uyo Teaching Hospital, assaulted a senior doctor, Professor Ekpe, also referred to as Eyokpe, a professor of cardiothoracic surgery and deputy chairman of the Medical Advisory Committee, alongside with other staff, and he was also reportedly manhandled by the operatives as well. Now, hospital staff alleged that the operatives assaulted Professor Ekpe and others, handcuffed them and created chaos with tear gas and warning shots. 4 staff members were reportedly arrested. Now, the NMA, which is the Nigerian Medical Association for the Akwa Ibom State chapter, held an emergency meeting and declared an indefinite strike, shutting down services across the state following the incident until justice is served. Now, they are demanding damages, they are demanding accountability and also, should I say, resolution for damages caused, while the university authorities have come out to condemn the incident. The EFCC claims they exercised restraints in the course of carrying out their actions. Police authorities in Akwa Ibom have also denied any involvement in the incident. Now, we're going to roll the clip from the incident that happened. You most likely are seeing it. So let's take a look and come back and hear what Nigerians are saying.
University of Uyo Teaching Hospital. This is happening in a hospital.
That serves as a place of last resort for millions of citizens of the state. And on a daily basis, you will see anything between 600 to 800 patients. And we have a bed capacity of almost 600. And right now, due to unforeseen circumstances, we are now in a shutdown. I pray that this situation can be resolved as soon as possible. Everybody say in line with me. Amen. And I also want to say that the issues involve the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission. and the reported invasion of heritage. I want to say that we have a very good relationship with the EFCC. And I would not sit down here in good faith to run down EFCC, because I know people who are close to me who have been beneficiaries. The EFCC is doing a good job in this country. Without EFCC, I would say that many of you will not even want to put your money in the bank. You want to hide it in your suitcases. So because of a simple incident, please let us refrain from rubbishing a very noble institution of government that is doing a good job. Rather, we can condemn the activities of a few operatives who have led to this unfortunate situation. I also want to say that we have a very fantastic relationship with the Nigerian police. My management can tell you that I'm always calling Commissioner of Police. Even during meetings, I'll call him and he always responds. So I'm not going to respond too much to the media releases, but I'm going to, as much as possible, what we're doing here is trying to set the facts straight so we can stop some of these false things that happens. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I want to say that I'm starting at the beginning. This is not the first time we received letters from the EFCC for authentication of not just medical reports, different things, and we've always responded. We've also received from the police and other ICPC, we received letters and we always responded. I guess the events that surrounded this were a little bit unfortunate. I would say on the 20th of April, a letter dated 20th of April was received in my office. These things are there on the 21st of April 2026. Letter was dated 20th of April and received on the 21st of April. And I, the Chief Medical Director, treated that still that same day. The dates are there. On the 21st of that same April, I treated that letter and mailed it to the appropriate to handle. Now that letter made reference to a previous letter dated 11th of March and attached a copy. I want to state that we never received that letter dated 11th of March. They may have written, but
from the official permission I got to travel for official engagement outside Akwa Ibom State. When I resumed on Monday, I added that responsibility with the clinical duties I had, teaching of resident doctors and also teaching of medical students on that Monday. I added the responsibility of confirming that medical report. I also had to invite the head of internal medicine department to look at that report because the diagnosis that the medical report carried was that of internal medicine, that is medical diagnosis, and the head of that internal medicine department looked at the report and also discovered that the name of the doctor that signed the report is not a member of staff of that department. So with the other evidences that we got, it was easy to write a response for EFCC, and I did that on Monday, which was 11th of April 2026. Sorry, 11th of May 2026. And on 12th of May 2026, that was yesterday in the morning, the EFCC personnel came into my office and they introduced himself. He came alone, introduced himself, and told me that he was coming to collect that response. I told him that the response was ready in draft. I showed him the draft. I showed it to him, and he saw it. And I told him that what was left was for me to show to my chief medical director, who is the chief executive officer of this institution, before I would put it on. It would be printed on the paper, stamped and signed, and handed over to him. He pretended to have accepted that because he went out of my office barely 2 minutes after. He came in again, but this time around with another personnel holding gun, and he told me that I was under arrest. I asked him why. I was not the one that issued the medical report. My name is not on the medical report. The report was not issued from my unit. And I'm not a criminal, I'm not a suspect. And your organization did not address the letter to me. So why am I under arrest? He said, when you get to office, you will say all that. I said, okay, can you wait for my office staff I sent on errand to come back to office before I join you? They said, no, you cannot wait. They started pushing me. They dragged me out of the office. And when they dragged me out of the office to the walkway, I started crying. And people that heard the cry came. Hospital staff that heard the cry came. And they said I must be, the EFCC operative said I must not say anything. I must not make call. I must not say anything. I must not answer calls. And so when people heard my cry and came to the scene, and of course they had prevented me from saying anything. So I could not say that, I could not tell the hospital, my colleagues in the hospital that came, that these are EFCC personnel, because they had said I should not talk. They were holding gun behind and in front of me. They were dragging me. So that was what happened at that point. So many staff came and they prevented them from taking me out, and the protector was locked. They phoned, the FCC personnel phoned their office for what they call reinforcement.
EFCC committed an abomination in Akwa Ibom State. Professor Ekpe was washing in for a surgery that he never did. Why? Because masked men from the EFCC entered the hospital, took out tinted bullets and fired tear gas inside the hospital. Patients ran, nurses ran, people on drips ran. According to NMA, that's the Nigerian Medical Association, they beat this professor until he was bleeding from his forehead. Handcuffed him, dragged him outside the hospital with 3 other staff. Why? They wanted to verify medical reports, a piece of paper for somebody that committed fraud. Now, the EFCC has come out to say, we wrote 2 letters, but we didn't get any response. Fine. Let's say that that's exactly what happened. Let us assume that the hospital ignored every letter. Tell me, in what country does an unanswered letter justify tear gas in a ward? In what world does the answer to "we are not replying your emails" become poop marksmen with 2 buses into a place where people are fighting for their lives? There's a thing called court order. There's a thing called subpoena. There's a thing.
We really live in tough times, I must say. And these are very, very sad incidences that are starting to unfold before our eyes. Binga.
I mean,
there's no need to explain the whole story. I'm sure the viewers get the story.
27 years since the last time we had military rule, 28 years to be specific. And you should have gotten over any type of military rule hangover, and to see this sort of behavior in 2026 is not only condemnable, it's abhorrent, and should be condemned by all well-meaning Nigerians, because even in war times, the Geneva Convention says that hospitals should be treated with special care. How dare any law enforcement agent in Nigeria deploy tear gas canisters in an hospital environment? These are, they're patients that are receiving treatment. It's that sacred. And this is just sacrilegious for the EFCC to behave like this. There's no excuse under the sun to justify their behavior, the behavior of their men. And what adds injury to salt is the statement released by the EFCC.
We can have that on the screen as well.
Complete denial. They said, nothing. That's the statement there. It reads, why EFCC operatives visited UUTH. Tuesday, May 12, 2026. Visit of the operatives of the Uyo Zonal Directorate of the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission to the University of Uyo Teaching Hospital in Uyo, Akwa Ibom State was informed by the need to authenticate a medical report presented by a suspect under remand by Justice M.A. Onyetunu of the Federal High Court, Uyo for allegedly defrauding multiple microfinance banks, including University of Uyo Microfinance Bank. The suspect had presented a medical report which required authentication by the UUTH management. The commission wrote 2 different letters dated March 11, 2026 and April 2026 to the hospital management to this effect without receiving any response. The investigating officer handling the matter took the further step of visiting the hospital to inquire about the status of the request. Still no response. As a last resort, operatives of the commission visited the chief medical director of the hospital on Tuesday to make further inquiries, only to be locked in with a false alarm and subjected to unprovoked attack by misguided staff of the facility, who pelted them with stones and other dangerous objects. While within the hospital, the CMD reportedly directed that gates of the facility be shut, making it impossible for any lawful inquiry to be made. Police authorities in Akwa Ibom State advised the CMD to open the hospital gates to enable the operatives exit the premises peacefully, but the entreaties were turned down. In spite of the hostility and provocation, there was no breakdown. Very important paragraph here. In spite of the hostility and provocation, there was no breakdown of law and order, as the operatives exercised restraint and professionally made their way out of the hospital premises without disrupting its activities. Enquiries bordering on operational engagement of the Commission are lawful. It is therefore necessary to remind the public and corporate bodies that they are obliged to cooperate with agencies in such circumstances. Contrary action could be deemed as obstruction, which is criminal, with attendant legal consequences. I guess that's the end of the post from the EFCC. But we live in a digital age. There's video evidence, there's eyewitness reports, and it's totally different from what the EFCC is saying. So
completely different. Completely different.
What's going on?
I mean, what we've seen, the police also quickly put out a press release when this whole incident was happening, and they clearly took themselves away from all of the, brouhaha or whatever. They said, see, we're not involved. Police not involved in alleged assault at UUTH, online report false, misleading and distorted. I'll just go straight to the second paragraph. They said, for the avoidance of doubt, the operation in question was carried out solely by operatives of the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission in the course of a lawful assignment. The command considers it necessary to clearly state the facts as follows. They made it clear that the CMD of the University of Uyo Teaching Hospital placed a distress call to the Commissioner of Police, Akwa Ibom State, reporting the presence of armed men within the hospital premises whose identities could not be immediately ascertained. The CMD further informed the CP that he had directed the closure of the hospital gates as a precautionary measure. Upon receipt of the report, the Commissioner of Police promptly deployed police personnel to the hospital strictly to assess the situation and prevent any possible breakdown of law and order. On arrival, it was professionally confirmed that the operatives involved were personnel of the EFCC carrying out a lawful operation. The CMD was immediately informed accordingly and advised to reopen the hospital gates to enable the EFCC personnel peacefully exit the premises. Okay? And then he said, however, the advice was reportedly not complied with, thereby escalating tension within the environment. The EFCC operatives, who were allegedly held within the premises and pelted with stones, eventually forced open the gate in order to exit the hospital premises. The Akwa Ibom State Police Command states unequivocally that at no time did police personnel participate in the operation, assault any hospital staff, deploy tear gas, or engage in any form of brutality as falsely portrayed in the viral reports. Just to go to the final paragraph, it says, members of the public are therefore advised to disregard the sensational and inaccurate reports linking the police to the incident, as they are entirely false and devoid of factual basis. The Akwa Ibom State Police Command remains committed to professionalism, lawful policing, and the protection of lives and property across the state. Well, we've looked at the story, whether you like it or not, in totality. And on Wake Up Conversation, we try as much as possible to look at stories from different angles, plus get to hear what Nigerians are saying. My take on this simply is it's appalling, it's sad, it's embarrassing, and it is discouraging. As we speak now, University Teaching Hospital in Uyo, Akwa Ibom State is on strike. The doctors are on strike. This morning, I was also informed that you have patients who were receiving treatment and some currently don't know where to go because doctors have said, listen, we're going to really prove to you guys that if you take us for granted, we would show you that we are very important in the society. The biggest problem here is that the doctor who was actually assaulted has been termed to be one of the best that Nigeria has.
He's the only specialist in that field.
In that field, in the whole of the Akwa Ibom state. And I just don't understand for the life of me as a Nigerian that a day will come where I know them to be the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission. Economy or economic, name them. You wanted to get a medical report for a suspect. You said you've applied twice, no response. Why did you have to go in a commando style? So the people responded by shutting the gate. If you see the police report, they said they did not know who they were. They were men wielding guns.
Because they
we
move around
live in dangerous times where people...
cars.
Come on. What did we say? What's going on?
Well, I mean, the way at which every department who is supposed to enforce things do things with such impunity is heart-wrenching and is disgusting. And then the statements that they put out as well is also very manipulative, I would say, and also quite the gaslighting because there's video evidence clearly, and the entirety of the NMA would not come out and put out statements if they didn't, make their own investigations. All I have to say is at one point in our lives as Nigerians and as a people, as a culture, and as a nation, we have to start to address issues of impunity when it comes to these departments and also these parastatals or security outfits or agencies whose duty is really to, secure, safeguard, and to enforce. I'm speaking particularly to the police. I don't think there's anything whatsoever in that situation that required a tear gas, that required even water cannons, that required a vehicle filled with people with guns. It didn't require a car, a tinted car. It didn't require any of that. All it just needed was just one individual coming to the reception of the hospital, asking for the doctor, and if they tell you that the doctor is washing in to go for a surgery, you ask how long the surgery is going to take, and then you come back. You didn't need to do all of that. The police wasn't needed at all.
The
EFCC, you didn't need all of those officials, right? And so that's my own. My own is just the rate at which we do things. Can you use that energy? Okay, how about we use the energy, all right, to safeguard schools? How about we do that? How about we use that same energy to go after the persons, the government officials and the politicians, former politicians and former position holders whose names has been fingered? How about we use those? Yaya Bello is dancing. What's the latest with him? Just saying. It's
a whole lot.
You're right, because when
lot.
you see the way they deploy this Army Ranger commando style invasions of that's when they seem to have the hospital.
You don't need all that force.
You're right. It's a very common sense. It's simple. Okay.
When doctors are
very
leaving?
civil issue. You need someone's attention. Why do you go there commando style? And then the hypocrisy of all of this is the energy. Why don't you use the same energy as this commando style invasion to deal with bandits and kidnappers that are terrorizing the lives of Nigerians on a daily basis? It's very sad. And my thoughts are I'm in solidarity with the Nigerian Medical Association, especially the Akwa Ibom chapter. They have every right to do what they're doing at the moment, to send a strong signal to all security agencies that none of this will be tolerated going forward.
But let's take the reactions. Let's go on X very quickly and see what Nigerians are saying about this very sad development in Nigeria, where expectations are indeed high for institutions such as the EFCC. This one says, I heard the professor was assaulted and that the police threatened to shoot anyone who tried to intervene. Professor of medicine, for God's sake, he says. The same person threatening to shoot the doctor. If he's sick, who's going to take care of him? It's just commonsensical. Now, this is very barbaric. Any medical doctor who chooses to serve in Nigeria is putting his or herself in danger. It doesn't even come with any benefits. We medical students should start making jackpot plans because we cannot die for a country where we're not valued. And we do understand these sentiments. If we from the studio here and as journalists haven't gone through or calling other journalists to get the story and you hear the reports, you can imagine how we feel, how much more of those who are practitioners as well.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I mean, just the other day, someone said, I wish I had a gun, I would have shot him through the TV.
Yeah.
Talking to a profession, which of course is the fourth estate of the realm, talk about the media, the news, and everything that you need in order to pass information, but yet you're threatening to unalive a member, which extends to members. And this one is the medical field now. You're going in with guns blazing. You're calling for backup. It's crazy. It's really crazy. Let's see this one very quickly. Dopamine says, in a sane country, the healthcare leaders will shut down the entire healthcare system, but it's Nigeria, anything goes, and the leaders are spineless. Well, they're not spineless. The NMA has gone on strike. They're currently on strike. University Teaching Hospital of Akwa Ibom is actually on strike as well. Healthcare work in Nigeria is a life hazard. I remember the day during HJ when some cult leaders stormed the hospital with his group and was hunting for doctors, nurses in ONG to brutalize. People were scampering for safety, removing their ward coats, and even nurses were running. That's from Chuka. Okay, all right. Guys, I mean, that's all we're going to take a wake-up conversation this morning. Just one story, and we had to look into that very carefully. I don't know where we go from
why
here.
Why is it that Nigerian security operatives or just government parastatals in general, when they're caught pants down, they would never admit
lie, deny, roll,
and
lie,
say,
deny,
would investigate and heads will roll. Because, I mean, the other day was the issue of the Nigerian Army Brigade of Guards that jumped into a private house.
We've not had an update on that story yet.
Shot a young boy in his head, and we seem to have moved on, and we're going to move on from this until the next news cycle, and that's the bane of the issues in Nigeria, because we never follow up to find a final solution to it. We just jump on the next story and that's it. But I'm sure the
because it never ends.
Will send a message.
I think maybe because it never ends as well. We've lost our sensitivity to stories like this. If you think that you're shocked, there's more that's still coming. Do you get what I mean? So it happens. There's a cycle that to the point where you can't seem to catch your breath. Well, you're watching Breakfast Central. We need to go on a short break. When we return, we have all of the stories lined up for you.
That's right. Well, let's take a look at our top stories for today. APC consensus tension. APC battles widening cracks over consensus plan. We'll take a look at that. Governor Siminalayi Fubara finally breaks his silence. He's not moving to anywhere. He's still with the APC. We'll look at that story as well. Plus, Wike on judicial infrastructure. What is he saying? Nigerians are asking questions. We'll find out. And we'll take a look at the Africa CEO Forum. We will be connecting at 8 o'clock hour. So stay with us. 9 o'clock hour, which is 9 a.m., affords you the opportunity to speak with us and share your thoughts on some of the big stories. We'll be right back to begin. Thanks for staying with us here on Breakfast Central. The growing controversy over the consensus arrangement within the ruling All Progressives Congress is exposing fresh cracks inside the party ahead of the 2027 elections. From Katsina to Ogun State, Rivers and Oyo State, aggrieved members are accusing party leaders of turning consensus into a tool for political imposition, with protests, defections and allegations of manipulation already threatening party unity. In Katsina, for instance, lawmakers who lost out in the process have dumped the APC, warning that the arrangement appears skewed in favor of politically connected figures, while in Ogun State, members protested alleged attempts to deny them membership cards ahead of the primaries.
Now, the APC leadership insists no aspirant will be excluded and says direct primaries will be adopted where consensus fails. But with growing fears of imposed candidates, internal rebellion and possible defections, concerns are mounting over whether the party can successfully manage its internal democracy ahead of what is expected to be fiercely fiercely contested 2027
Now, join
election
us this
cycle.
morning on Breakfast Central to delve deeper into this conversation. In APC is a member of the, it's an APC member and a House of Representative aspirant, Shehu Ojo Bonlo. And we also are expecting political analyst Jide Ojo. Mr. Ojo Bonlo, okay, Mr. Jide Ojo is with us. One welcome to you both, gentlemen, and thanks for joining us this morning on Breakfast Central. I'd like to start with Mr. Ojo Bonlo. The APC says consensus is meant to reduce internal crisis, but what we're currently witnessing, we're seeing protests, we're seeing threats of defections, accusations of imposition. Is the strategy already creating more division than unity within the party? And what does this say about internal democracy within the APC?
Thank you for having me on your show today. And first off, I would like to correct something. This, what seems like a crisis, is not creating a fracture within the party, but it is actually exhibiting the actual process of democracy, which means that everyone has the opportunity, to present their case, to present their agenda, their programs to the people. And usually this wouldn't happen the way we are expecting it, especially when a candidate probably feels like, oh, wow, I'm not doing as good as I should be doing. And, if we trace back into the past, right, we have a system where candidates are being imposed, right? But what Mr. President, in person of Ashwaju, Bola Ahmed Adekunle Tinubu, GFCR, what he has been able to do is to let party leaders know that democracy in Nigeria has to go through its actual process. And what are the actual process of democracy? That is, people need to go to the polls to select their leaders through a primary process. And again, there might have been some pushback, there might have been some groaning minds, but that is what APC is currently doing. It might seem like fracture, it might seem like internal fracture, but trust me, it's a process, and that is how it is all over the world.
Okay, let's talk about your own situation, because you're vying for the House of Representatives seat, and you're a member of the APC. Have you undergone your screening exercise, and where are we at the moment?
Yes, and thank you for that question. I've actually completed my screening exercise. We're waiting for the screening result to be released. And note, my state is actually Ondo State, where I have great leaders. I have the person of Governor Loki Orimisan-Aiyedatiwa. I have the person of the Honorable Minister of Interior, in person of Umitun Biojo. These are leaders that are making sure the affairs of Ondo State is going the way it should be going. I, for once, I consider myself the youngest in the seat where I'm contesting for, because I'm actually contesting against an incumbent, then against an older politician.
So what are the party leaders saying? Are you going to direct primaries, or they would rather have the incumbent as a consensus candidate? What's the conversation around that seat you're vying for?
As of right now, despite the governor having the control of party affairs with the state, the governor is basically following the instruction of Mr. President, which is there must be a direct primaries across board. So the idea of consensus, and I understand information might have been flying around, politics, people come up with stories, people come up with fabrications, but APC as a party is sticking to the idea of internal democracy, which is an all-inclusive democracy. So we are all going, stepping out to have a direct primaries, that is, the people are picking who their leader is going to be.
Okay. All right. Let's go to Sir Jide Ojo, who has joined us. I would like to get your thoughts. Do you think this is actually an internal crisis, a seemingly internal crisis? Because we can look at the optics, especially in the case of Ogun State. Former Governor Gbenga Daniel and, of course, Dapo Abiodun. We could see the back and forth of what's going on. And we have other states as well. So can you shed more light? I mean, looking at this from a political analyst point of view.
Morning. You see, whatever is happening now is a quadrennial development. Every 4 years, whenever there's going to be party primaries, you have this kind of scenario evolving. And that's so it's not totally surprising to me as an analyst, having watched political development in Nigeria since 1999. So, but now that in 2022 Electoral Act, consensus was brought into the Electoral Act and added to the earlier two, that's direct and indirect primaries. It had to be for 2022. It has always been direct and indirect primary. But the consensus arrangement was brought in 2022. Now in 2026 Electoral Act, you now have only consensus as specified in Section 86 of the Electoral Act, and then, the Section 87 of the Electoral Act, and then direct primary as stipulated in Section 86 of the Electoral Act. But you see, you possibly have had the phenomenon called Baba Sokwe. The elders have decided, or the elder has said, Baba Sokwe politics is not new. At every election, even in the Second Republic, I remember, similar thing happened where some elders will sit in caucus and decide this is the person that will go for us, looking at several variables. But my worry now is Section 83, subsection 5 of the Electoral Act has said that internal affairs of a political party is not justiciable. So you find out that parties across board, and there are 22 of them, are most likely going to act with impunity in this nomination process. Because they know, even Justice Joyce Abdul-Malik, last Friday gave a judgment in relation to a petition, a matter filed by an aspirant in the last zonal national congresses, the zonal congress that was conducted by APC in March 2026. And Justice Abdul-Malik quoted that Section 83 sub 5 that this issue is not justiciable. She cannot entertain that matter, and actually asked the petitioner to pay 20 million naira for even filing the petition. So why I'm making this reference is that you now have a scenario where those who are skilled out will have no recourse to judicial review of what the party leaders may have done. Then there is also the provision of Section 85 of the Electoral Act, which has actually said that no extra constitutional provision should be brought into the matters of qualification or disqualification of aspirants. But what we have seen now is that the screening committee that was set up by particularly APC, because it's the dominant, is the party that is currently, making effort to conduct its primaries. You find out that according to a newspaper report yesterday, about 150 aspirants have been disqualified under different guises. And you find out that these people are aggrieved. I don't know whether they can even defect to any party now because, again, Section 77 of the Electoral Act, particularly subsection 4, has said that every political party must submit membership register, both digital and hard copy, to INEC 21 days to the conduct of their primaries. And now, INEC gave them till May 10th to submit this membership register. So, if you are not satisfied with the development in APC, for instance, and you decide to defect, of what importance, you will not be in the register of the party you are defecting to, because I don't expect a person, one individual, to belong to multiple parties. So they are in a cul-de-sac. If the party decides against you, you are in the lodge. And what I fear now is that there may be a lot of anti-party, because these people who may be screened out or, from the contest have paid millions of naira. You knew that APC charged the highest expression of interest and nomination fee. And with this huge sum, those who have not been given a level playing field are most likely going to be bitter, and they may work against the interest of the party, even if they do not defect. And that's the worry for me. Even in my column in the Punch yesterday, I actually warned that what may vitiate the victory of APC in 2027 may be the enemies within. People who may defect, and they may just not be able to pick tickets of another party, or they will stay within the party and work against the interests of the party. And that's the flip side of imposition of candidates, or what we call Baba Sokwe politics in the southwest Nigeria. So I'm duly worried. And then the other thing that I need to flag in this discussion, if you are going to go for direct primaries, the party APC said list of successful candidates will be published by 13th of May. And 13th of May was yesterday. And if you look at what Felix Moka has published overnight, they said that House of Reps primary will take place on 15th of May, which is tomorrow. So if, as of today, many people still does not know whether they have been screened out or they are successful with their screening, and even the party itself, if it wants to go through direct primaries, is it known to all the aspirants what the shape and form of that direct primary will be? Where will it be taking place? Is it at the ward level? Is it at the local government level that you have? Are the members of the party sensitized enough to know that there will be direct primaries at these polling centers? In the case of INEC will tell you where the polling units are. I don't know if my brother, who is an aspirant in this election, who is on this panel with me, I don't know whether if he's cleared to contest tomorrow, because House of Reps primary comes up tomorrow, whether they have been communicated where the polling units will be. If it's going to be at local government areas or ward level, where exactly in the ward? Because a ward can be more than a town. A local government is a composition of several towns and villages. So you need to have sufficient information so that you can mobilize your party agent or polling agent. Because even as an aspirant that will be contesting in a primary, you are supposed to have an agent that will protect your interests, that will oversee the conduct, the distribution of polling materials and all of that. I've had another party saying they want to do option A for open secret. Is that the mode? So there is a lot that is not yet clear. As of today, for a party primary that is supposed to start tomorrow or be conducted tomorrow, how will the aspirants who have been cleared, how would they receive the needed information to know where these direct primaries, if that is what has been agreed to, where they will hold, and would they be allowed to bring their own polling agents to protect their interests at the agents? And now that the court has shut them out, or the Electoral Act has shut them out from ventilating their matters in court, saying that it's an internal affairs of the party, then you have the oligarchy of party leadership.
Let me come to you, Sheon, right? Because he's posed a number of issues, right, regarding the APC structure as we're heading to primaries. But most importantly, he's asked you a very critical question. So I want you to first answer that question. Are you going into the primaries tomorrow? Do you stand a chance? I think that's, of course, I'm giving you a right of reply. But also importantly, there's been allegations about, the APC having consensus agreement or arrangements with those who are seeming to be politically connected figures. There's also been issues of, people, allegations of people being denied membership cards just ahead of the primaries. And also there's been claims that those delegates have been stopped from voting. All of this, is the APC under pressure? Does it only favor those that are politically connected? Are you politically connected?
For the question. And to respond directly to will I be going into the primaries tomorrow? Yes, the information that came around was that primaries was moved down from the 18th, which is next week, to 15th, which is tomorrow. And what we were consistently done in my federal constituency would consist of 2 wards and 26 local, and 2 local governments, 26 wards, is to constantly update our people. What would the polling units be? The usual polling unit INEC would always use for election affairs. And like I said, our people are constantly being updated. And Nigerian political trajectory is actually changing. And I totally respect his analysis, all the work he has done. But what is not getting right is that President Bola Ahmed Tinubu is making sure, putting in work day and night to ensure that democracy is coming directly from the people. Are there rancors? Are there issues internally in the party? Yes, which is normal for every society where it might exist. But saying that would be the breakdown or cause and breakdown of law and order or cause issues within the party is not visible. And thinking that internal crisis is an issue that could drag APC down, over the years, what we have seen is that APC has actually grown bigger and stronger. And the idea of party imposition or favoritism or Baba support politics is not there. When Baba has came out openly to express that people are picking their leaders. If it was going to be Baba Sofe, we wouldn't have been able to get forms. Someone like me, I don't have no one I'm running to, and I'm highly optimistic.
So you paid 50. You paid 50 million. Was it 50 million or 100 million? How much did you pay? How much did you get the form?
It wasn't that expensive. Now there are categories, right? I think for the governors it's a different. For reps, we didn't pay up to that. For reps, it was way below that.
How much?
So for reps, APC form is an open information. APC form sells for about a little less than 10 million.
And do you get any special treatments for being a youth candidate? Are there any discounts?
I try to have a conversation in that regards, like, okay, for youth, what do we get? And trust me, it's the way I get treated was the way an older person get treated, because politics is considered a mature arena for mature people that you have to be intellectually ready, financially ready, economically ready, and you have to be ready with your people as well on the grassroots. And that is what Aisha Oluwashina Adengolo is capitalizing on to use at the polls tomorrow to go for primaries.
Thank you. So no special favors. I'd like to go back to Mr. Jide Ojo. Seun just said that Baba Sope has said that the people will choose. Will the people really get to choose? Or like Judith said, this oligarchy of well-connected political leaders within their parties? Because Baba is not omniscient. He cannot be everywhere at the same time. Baba is also dealing with issues of statecraft and running the country. So how dangerous can the perception of injustice and exclusion become for a ruling party, especially with disgruntled elements within the party? they've paid millions of naira that is very hard to come by these days, and then you wake up and hear that there's a consensus candidate. We've seen grown men break down on television shedding tears because, you know, the powers that be have excluded them. You also mentioned something in the first, during your first round of questioning about, you know, sabotage and defections, but INEC, I believe, as part of their wisdom, it seems that door has been shut. So how much damage can they do if they can't leave the party?
Okay, so let me correct an impression. I'm not surprised how Sherry is talking. He's a politician, he's a stakeholder, his faith lies in, his political faith, so to speak, lies in what happens tomorrow. But I am sure that paying 10 million, even with the way the economy is now, is not a chicken feed. I would have loved a scenario where, like I read somewhere, I think it's NDC, that is asking people to just pay nomination fee for now. You pay only the nomination fee. You pay only the expression of interest fee, and when you have scaled the screening, you will not pay the nomination fee. But that is not even good enough for me. To mitigate the losses of aspirants, it should just be like, pay only the expression of interest now. Whether you are qualified or disqualified, your loss is minimal. Then when you have gone through the primaries and your name is to be nominated to INEC, you cannot pay the nomination fee. That would have been fair to me, because why do you have to pay expression of interest and nomination fee simultaneously? And this money is not refundable. And you now have a scenario where multitudes are paying, and then a day or two after, you are screened out on a nebulous and very opaque reasons. In fact, some are just getting to know that they have been disqualified on social media. There is no formal, proper communication to aspirants that have been disqualified through the screening to say, these are the reasons why you are disqualified. And that is not good enough for a ruling party. Now, when we talk of Baba Sokwe, it's not just one person. You seem to have narrowed it down to President Bola Tinubu. President Bola Tinubu had meetings with the governors before he traveled to France and Kenya and I think Rwanda. He said, what the press reported was that the president said the governors should manage the process. And now, governors are one layer of Baba Sokwe. There are also party chairmen, state working committee members. They also can constitute another Baba Sokwe level. There could be one political baron, very influential, rich person within the party ecosystem that will also dictate to the party leaders and said, please, this is the person I want. You can see the swelling controversy about the screening of Rivers State Governor Siminalayi Fubara. We do not know whether he has been disqualified, whether he's been qualified. We know somebody who allegedly was pulling the strings behind to say his nomination or his aspiration should be disqualified. So there are different levels at which Baba Sokwe politics manifest. And so don't narrow it to President Bola Tinubu. There are different levels. There are power brokers that you have not even had their name mentioned in the media. For instance, in Lagos, the GAC, Governance Advisory Council in Lagos, is a Baba Sokwe caucus. They determine who gets what in Lagos politics. And you can see the influence they played in rejecting Ambode's second-term bid. Even though Ambode was not screened out, he was allowed to participate in the direct primaries at that time. But they've already announced that the Babajide Sanwo-Olu is their preferred aspirant. And at the end of the day, the governor, his sitting governor, was humiliated out of office. So I know what I'm talking about. I'm a student of politics, and I've been on the field working in development sector for over 26 years. So it's not as if I'm ranting on a TV station. Our political parties can do better in terms of candidate nomination processes. There are provisions in the Electoral Act, there are provisions in the Constitution. Even the party has its own guidelines that it has said will be followed in the nomination of its candidates, starting from sales of nomination form, down to screening of aspirants, down to the conduct of primaries, whether it's going to be direct or indirect primaries. And all of these processes sometimes are breached with impunity. So that is what I'm trying to address. Because when you asked the jurisdiction of the court and said that it's an internal affairs, that means even after the primaries have been held, somebody who is not even an aspirant can be given the nomination form under the guise that is the decision of the party, because it's an internal affairs of the party. But I do understand on the flip side, you don't also want to congest the court. You don't want every Tom, Dick, and Harry to run to the court to press for relief or to seek redress, because already political cases are really, congesting our court system because of the timeliness. They are time bound, and judges have to leave civil and criminal matters to now attend to political cases, because of, if they fail to do that, decision may become an academic exercise later on. So my own advocacy is that we can do better. The political parties that are now rushing to have their primaries, remember, INEC gave April 23 to May 30th for the conduct of these primaries. Why can't they do the screening and all of this, in April, between that April 23 and April 30th, serve forms and then screen the people and give like 1 week notice for those who are successful aspirants to now market themselves, to go and canvass for votes. And then they are sure where the primaries are going to be held, who and who will be qualified. For instance, if you are not paying your membership dues, can you be allowed to vote for any of the aspirants? If you have newly joined a party and you are less than 3 months in that party or 1 week in the party, will you be allowed as an aspirant? Will you even be allowed to vote in an election? Because we know issues that also happens with waivers, where parties may have to grant waivers to some aspirants to qualify them, to enable them to stand for election. And in terms of even members who are going to vote in the direct primaries, there could also be certain criteria that the parties have also held their own convention and congresses, adopted the methodology, the technique that was used by APC. Look at ADC. When ADC held its congresses and convention, did they do anything different from what APC did? When NDC that just held its own convention on the 9th, last Saturday, did they do anything different from what APC did? Labour Party, SDP, all of them are copying from the same textbook or playbook. They are birds of the same feather. There is no difference. In fact, the difference between APC and all the 21 other parties is that you find between 6 and half a dozen. Because they always seek the easy way out. Look at from time, political parties in Nigeria, not even in the current dispensation, they've been always afraid of contestations. They have been afraid of election. Even anytime they have option of consensus, they always push for that consensus. And consensus really, as enunciated in Section 87 of the Electoral 2026, it has already said the procedure for you to arrive at consensus, that you can. It doesn't even emphasize that you just screen out people arbitrarily. You have to look at what happened in Osun State ahead of this August 15 governorship election in APC. 9 people contested. 7 of the 9 people were screened out, including former deputy governors, former senators, someone like Iyolo Mishore, someone like Babajide Omowurare, who was a state and federal lawmaker. He was a member of the Lagos State House of Assembly before he became a senator representing Ife Central. He was the deputy governor, Benedict, all of these people were screened out because of the predetermination of having Oyebanji as the preferred candidate of APC. But when we also investigated, almost all the parties, the 14 parties that are currently nominated, that have nominated candidates in Osun governorship election, also adopted similar consensus arrangement. So the difference that you find between the ruling party and the opposition parties is that you find between 6 and half a dozen. They always copy from the same textbook. The reason why APC is generating furore is because it's the ruling party and it's the party that have charged the highest amount for nomination. And I think I hope they can listen to me and try and look at the advocacy I've made this morning. That when you sell expression of interest forms should first be sold to all aspirants, pre-qualify them, screen them out, and then those who have won the primaries, then you collect nomination fee from them. That is fair. That will mitigate losses of aspirants. But situations where they pay expression of interest and nomination form, which are non-refundable, and then you use nebulous and opaque criteria to screen these aspirants out, making them to lose their investment, and then you go ahead and write roughshod and say it's an internal affairs of our party, you cannot go to court, you call their bluff. They are most likely going to undermine you. If they have that influence, they will undermine you from achieving victory in that state or constituency. So that's why APC needs to manage this issue of screening and party primaries and nomination in a more they should exercise circumspection in doing that.
Okay. I mean, as you wrap up this conversation, a final question to you, Shehu. I mean, as the countdown continues and everyone is looking forward to the primaries, hopefully we would not see more members of the APC shed tears like we've seen some who were crying because they thought it was going to be a free for all even after they've paid. What will be your thoughts if at the end of the day, your expression of interest and your nomination form that has been paid for, I mean, you talked about 10 million naira or something, and at the end of the day, it's gone. How would you feel?
Again, like I've said in the past over time, this process is a process that we all trust. I wasn't expecting primaries. I was expecting a delegate process, right? But now we're taking it to the people. We know what we've signed up for. We know what we're doing. Is the process, is this smooth? Is it perfect like we all want to see? No, but trust me, it's getting better. And for the other political parties that are taking after APC, just like he said, I'm sure this is the new thing APC is doing to strengthen democracy in Nigeria. And trust me, let's work the process. Let's make necessary changes, and it won't happen overnight. It's just a process we have to go through.
All right. Thank you so much, Mr. Jideoje, for speaking with us, and also thank you so much, Mr. Shehu Ajogbolo. We wish you all the best as you go out for the primaries tomorrow. And like I said, hopefully we won't see a lot of people shedding tears on TV or in front of the cameras, just as we saw some former ministers also shed tears. Thank you for your time. We really appreciate it.
Thank you, Father.
All right. I think we need to go to Rwanda right now.
We now head to the African CEOs conference taking place right now in Kigali, Rwanda, to listen to President Paul Kagame, the chief host of the Africa CEO Forum.
But I have to say, possibly nothing like this has ever happened in the global economy. And I'm wondering how you are looking at not only the short-term trends, the long-term trends, but also, we know, the old adage, within every crisis, there's always opportunity. And there's a lot of agency on the continent that we haven't seen before. So how are you weighing things up? And what do you think the moment calls for the African continent and for you in Rwanda?
Well, thank you, Eleni, and welcome to Kigali. But let me take this opportunity to welcome and thank each one of the leaders here, heads of state, vice presidents, prime ministers, senior executives of different industries. I want to welcome you to Kigali and thank you very much for honoring our invitation and being here with us. Of course, I want to thank Amir and his team, Jeune Afrique, for having thought of this idea to bring people together in this manner that has been operational for a number of years. I want to appreciate the work they are doing and also the comments Amir made earlier, which really encapsulate all that we need to say and maybe based on to do a number of things. So I thank you all for being here. Thank you very much. Now, back to the question. There will always be crises. I mean, we have had centuries of different things happening. We had slave trade, we had colonial times, then there are wars, then there are pandemics, then there are all kinds of things. They will happen all the time. We just, it's a matter of time, and there are these cycles that. So we are in a different cycle now that is driven geopolitically, and we have to contend with that. But that also for Africa keeps being a reminder of our position. Where do we stand in this global positioning? And we have had many people contribute ideas and very accurately educating us what we need to do and what we need to be thinking about. But we can't stay there. We need to learn from this. We need to shape what we are doing for ourselves, and action should lead us in the right direction and how to deal with these crises. So, but for Africa, let me say, we have to leverage our competitive advantage, and there are a number of them. So why is Africa always at a disadvantage? When you look back, you see where Africa has been lacking this or that. But really, why, when we have almost everything? If you look at in the area of green energy, and this continent is home to 60% of solar potential. 60% is home to that. Africa is home to that. Then if you look at the critical minerals that talked about, all of them, or the majority, are on the continent for making batteries and so on and so forth. And different powers are fighting over that. But Africa, that has a lot of that, is silent or losing most of it cheaply to those who have the power and know what they want to do. Look at human capital. In terms of human capital, Africa has abundance of that. In fact, whether maybe by now already or in a few years to come, Africa will be having the largest middle class in the world. So how can we have these resources? And then we are here wondering how to overcome some of the challenges that are brought by the geopolitics that we talk about, or the crises that we see happening in every. So we need to come together and do something about it. It's doing something about it. The rest we know. And Amir earlier on was talking about what we lose by not doing a number of things. I think we lose a lot more even by not doing what we have to do.
And it's a really important point. It's time of action. And I have to say, you know, when you mention pandemics, there was a wake-up call, and we've seen so much shift and change. But, you know, watching what's been going on with the way African leaders have been approaching bad deals that are getting on their table. I mean, Zimbabwe, Zambia, as well as Ghana, saying no to mineral deals because it was about extraction in return for healthcare programs and so forth. And frankly, I'm sure a lot of you in the room know that you've been very vocal about the kind of bullying tactics, the coercive tactics that have been used by the West, specifically the US. And at this point in time, we know that Africa is still being viewed as a place where people can extract. But African leaders are saying no. Also threats about sanctions consistently, not only against African nations, but other countries. Rwanda yourselves are dealing with US sanctions since March this year with the issue regarding the DRC. Take me through how you're dealing with this new geopolitical tension where there's a belief that might is right and the big can control, you know, everyone else.
Well, it's a crisis in a sense, but brought about by the same thing, Africa not leveraging our capacity, our potential, our, you know, energy of the people of our continent is just locked out there. And it's a situation where the powers that be are holding a whip in their hands. They're using a stick to beat up whoever they want to beat up in order to, they are no longer even hiding it. It's just in the open. It's like in the situation you're talking about, we have in the region of Congo and the other crises that also in a way involve Rwanda and other countries in our region. Yeah, sanctions, one has, first of all, are they justified? And it is not just in this case of Rwanda, but in other cases. Sometimes sanctions are just applied in a case of the one who provides less than the other. Yes, so it goes in the favor of the highest bidder. When somebody knows they will extract more from a certain place, they will be more favorable to that place, even if they are the ones in the wrong.
Do you believe that all roads lead to mineral deals? Is that what you're saying?
I mean, it is in the open.
Okay.
I don't have to say much. And in some cases, it operates like in the very old days. Here there is a lot of cynicism in this. In the old days, the kings and so on and so forth used to give their in-laws, their children, you know, powers to say, go and control something somewhere. And that's happening today here.
Yeah.
Yes, they just give somebody, say, go and get whatever you want to, and do whatever you want to do in that region. That is how Africa is treated. So these powers you see that come here lecturing people on democracy, human rights, and they are doing it with one arm, and the other, they are just taking away everything that people own. So, and this is what is critical. This is why Africa, leaders of Africa, some of whom are here, are brothers, and the CEOs and other Africans, I think we need to give ourselves value of some kind. We can't just be people who are waiting to be ripped off by somebody who is shrewd enough and has the power to come. No, we must be able to say no.
And we've seen those no's. We've seen some of those. I mean, do you believe, I mean, sanctions are used, a coercive method to get countries to capitulate. Are you going to capitulate?
You know, I never capitulated in a war situation. This is not a bad situation as such. Well, it hurts, absolutely.
Yeah.
And that's what it is meant to do. It is meant, sanctions or different measures are meant to hurt people. So in a way we are hurt. But I think we would be hurt more by not doing what we are doing. So it's always, you make a calculation. Yes. So, and it is not so difficult to say no. In fact, it costs more to say yes to the wrong thing.
Yeah.
So we are here, but all these things come to pass in one form or another. Even those who have been given the gift of messing us up, one day they will not live long enough to see the gains from exploiting people or doing unjust things. So I think each one of us, countries in Africa, and mainly and most importantly together, there is a lot we can do to raise Africa, to raise ourselves to the level where it should be, and don't mind about these powers that think they own the world and the heaven and everything else.
And I hear you loud and clear on the hypocrisy and the contradiction in terms of where international law applies to some when it suits and it's broken in other cases. We've seen so much of this. In a world where we're seeing the unraveling of the global world order as we know it, institutions are being challenged, they're being broken down. What is Africa's role, do you think, in this new world? Because it feels like it's never going to be the same again.
You know, my view is that these pressures that we get from the rest of the world, Africa, I think, is being reminded to wake up. So the pressures are not entirely bad. I think they force Africa to look within for what we have, to actually do what we need to do, to find a good place for us in this world of those injustices and other challenges. So Africa, looking within, and we have a lot to bring to bear on dealing with these challenges, I think we can succeed. But above all, we need to work together and move away from saying what we know, because there is a lot we know and there is a lot we talk about, but we need to do a lot more based on that.
The private sector, I want to talk about scaling up or failing. You engage a lot with the private sector. Rwanda is such a prime example of incredible, I mean, we cover so many stories here. I mean, you're just seeing like hotbed of fantastic growth. But where do you think the private sector is going wrong from breaching that level and becoming African champions and really truly scaling up?
I think private sector is doing a good job. In fact, it is ahead of the public sector. But we could be served much better by finding a way to bring close private sector and the public sector and benefiting each other as one, because that's what we are actually one when you look at the needs of the continent. And so I want to thank the private sector. The private sector, they are actually, to some level, hustlers. They are able to go through some of the barriers that are created by the public sector.
Yeah.
But if those barriers were not there, the private sector would be far ahead of where they are, and along with that, the continent also would be ahead of where we are. So my call to all of us is for really coming together, the private sector, the ways of how they could conduct business, I think, have been very elaborately put by Amir in the presentation you had with him earlier. And those of us in the public sector need to fine-tune our responsibilities towards allowing the private sector to be the engine that they are and should be, and all of us would benefit.
I think His Excellency just gave all of you a compliment. He called you hustlers. He says you're doing things better than the pipe. Yes, give yourselves a round of applause. Mr. President, you're so encouraging always. I've got one other question, and I want to talk about, when I wake up in the morning and I have to check, can you believe social media to get an understanding of what leaders are thinking? And a lot of the time, it lacks decorum, it's shocking. You guys know who I'm talking about, right? Yeah, I don't have to say it. What do you think of the way global leaders, the strongest leaders on this planet, are speaking right now? I'm sure do you wake up and check what people are saying on social media? Do you get shocked? What shocked you the most? There's a lot.
I have become immunized to shocks. But social media is very interesting. It brings equality in some sense of presentation of ideas and feelings, and it has really, media has been democratized. I think it is important. Everyone can express themselves and they will be heard. If you are wrong, there will be somebody to tell you, you say, no, that's not right. And when it is right, then people will say, wait a minute, I think there is a point here that we should be thinking about. So it has been so open that we have gone beyond having this narrow sense of being guided into things without sometimes thinking, or we are conditioned to believing even what is not right just because it has been said by somebody in the media. So it has sort of opened up space for everybody. So some of us also follow, and it's up to any individual to scan and try and make a sense of what you've heard, you are seeing, and it is a good way. You receive criticism, you receive advice, and so it remains the responsibility of any individual to decide how they build on that and benefit.
You didn't answer my question about the shock factor. Are you shocked by some of the things you see?
I'm not. I said I have been immunized.
Immunized.
I'm not shocked about it. I understand where the world we live in.
Yeah, it's changed, right? It's completely different.
Yeah, for the 30-something years of my life, in the last 30 years, if you look at, I think, we come to understand there will be things that would otherwise be shocking, but they don't shock because we have been there.
That's true. Mr. President, final word. What do you want people to walk away with from this forum as we say goodbye?
Well, always it's a good opportunity, but I want people to know that each one of the people in this room and beyond have something to contribute and to benefit from, and benefit each other, and the continent has a lot that is not being put to good use, and it is up to us. It's not people from anywhere else to be able to raise ourselves to that level where we should be.
Ladies and gentlemen, please help me thank His Excellency the President of Rwanda, Paul Kagame. What an honor to speak to you, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thanks for staying with us here on Breakfast Central. Very interesting conversations coming from Rwanda right there. The president talking tough. And of course, it means it's going to be a very interesting one for all CEOs, talking about stakeholders, talking about presidents and the likes as they look forward to integrating what Africa has been waiting for. But away from Rwanda, let's go to the FCT, where the Minister Nyesom Wike has reaffirmed the administration's commitment to urban infrastructure, dismissing criticisms regarding recent judicial projects in the capital. Speaking in Abuja during a visit from the body of benchers, Wike directed the immediate construction of an access road to the organization's new annex building, assuring the delegation that the project, along with the main office complex, will be inaugurated and officially handed over by June to enhance the efficiency of the legal profession's highest decision-making body. Wike also hit back at recent comments by the Nigerian Bar Association chairman, Afam Osigwe, who suggested that building houses for judges could compromise their independence. The minister argued that providing a conducive living environment actually strengthens judicial autonomy by shielding officers from external pressures. Let's take a look.
And I've always said that you cannot bring down your own house. You cannot come to the public and denigrate your own judges and justices. They are not carrying the houses back home. Government is merely providing an enabling environment. That alone will even give them the independence we are talking about. I don't know if executive can give money to build. That will not be compromised.
Okay, all right, that's the minister there, making it clear that, listen, I mean, there have been blowbacks from back and forth.
And many people have written a lot about this because it blurs the lines between the executive and the judiciary. The former head of the Nigerian Human Rights Commission, Professor Chidiodun Kalu, I did write a piece where he described the FCT minister as the Minister of Judges' Welfare, because he's wondering why so much interest in the judiciary. But in that press conference, you could hear the FCT minister saying, you know, we're creating an enabling environment for them, which is all well and good. But Nigerians who ask the questions, what about those, the Nigerian police, the teachers, those that provide essential services, critical services to the nation? Why aren't they getting this sort of treatment? That are there, you know, is there more that Mr. I with regards to the special treatment judges are getting? So these are some of the issues that are on the front burner of discussions around the FCT minister's penchant for, you know, taking care of the judiciary. I know his background is legal, but yeah,
there's a lot.
A lot of questions to be answered.
Yeah, I mean, you would think that someone who's a professional, who is a law professional and went through the entire process on this, more than anything, you should understand that that every arm and every parts of the society needs autonomy, right? So, of course, the state needs autonomy. I remember how he's always saying that nobody should meddle what's going on in River State. It's, you know, his turf, mind your business. It's the same way you also talk about, what's going on at the Senate level, at the legislative level, as well as the presidency. And so more than anything, he knows the law book cover to cover. So you should know what autonomy actually means, right?
And
so it's very
principles of separation of
power. Right,
powers.
exactly. And then he knows it, I think, more than the average Nigerian, maybe more than me as well, who's a media professional, because you spent time, 4 years in university, another year in law school, and also you also practice as well extensively. So more than anybody else, you know what the law is. But to say that you're shielding the judiciary from external pressures is, I love that phrase there. Just to quote him directly, he's trying to shield the judiciary from external pressures, and that's why he thinks more than ever they need the housing projects. It begs to ask the question, what he also did to shield constituencies who are affected, by pressures, external pressures. For example, security in Abuja, and the likes, what he's done so far in, shielding them from external pressures.
That's a good one. That's a good one, because these questions will continue to rise, especially as we've seen that. I was watching a video yesterday and someone said it's quite sad that in 2026 you can almost predict what the outcome of the case would be. And that's not really good, because when you hear people say, oh, a certain person will get this verdict, certain person will get this verdict, preempting the court, and that's one thing we don't want to do. Also, exercising one's trust in the judiciary should be something that is an entitlement of every Nigerian, because it is an arm of the government that you should look up to. Like they say,
you were going to say it's the last hope of the common man, but then again, you had a second thought.
But I had a second thought. Is it really so? We've also seen some pronouncements that have been made, some statements that have been made. Remember status quo, antebellum. We've also seen the PDP case.
We've also seen the Serap case.
As well.
Which is still
we could
active.
Go ahead back and forth, and we wonder, okay,
how do you
really
libel someone? How do you sue someone for libel when names were mentioned?
I really don't get it.
So it's
these
are some of the issues.
Like I said, he knows the book back cover to cover more than anybody else.
And it's basically, it's not also really nice for the optics. I dare say this. This morning we started the show off with a very sad story of the University of Uyo Teaching Hospital. I have not seen where doctors have gotten homes built for them. Because even the lawyers need the doctor to stay alive. Exactly. Every single soul needs the doctors to stay alive.
About the teachers that teach the judges.
The doctors need the house so that they can function. What's that statement he made? So that they can focus.
They can be shielded from external pressure.
Don't the doctors need that more as well? They need that too, so they can be shielded. So I was expecting that this would be, it would cut across all important sectors in the society. But then again, Nigerians are actually speaking, and that's exactly what it is. That's why it's a democracy as well. And in the democracy, you expect people to also highlight some of the things that they deem to be good, to be perfect, to be worrisome, or also to share their thoughts. For us as journalists, our job is to, put one and two together, carry on more questioning if we have to, investigate, ask the questions. But the minister said, listen, he just wants them to do their job. And we are looking forward to a time where, as journalists, homes will be built for especially teachers who taught us up until now.
Yeah, who taught to everybody. They taught the doctors, they taught
everyone.
Right. And also, there's a housing deficit that we have. It's quite interesting. There's a housing deficit across states. If you're using the money or the allocations that are used for the state or allocated to the state, and you're using a chunk of that money to build houses for the judiciary, isn't that against every grain of what you're supposed to do as Minister of the FCT? I'm just curious, right? And I stand to be corrected. But if you are awarded a particular budget when it comes to the development and the maintenance and the local government running of the FCT, shouldn't that be the focus of it?
Yeah, the purview.
The purview of it. So how are you using a chunk
welfare for the Ministry of Justice or the Nigerian
to
Judicial Council? We should be talking about mass housing projects and also developing the suburbs in Abuja, which are I mean, the level of infrastructure there is appalling. There's really a lot to do.
Right.
But let's talk about his ally.
His home state.
They seem to have, we know they've fallen off. I'm talking about Governor Siminalayi Fubara. Yesterday was another turn, especially for those who had rumored that he was going to leave the APC. And after he had walked out of that screening exercise that had to take place in Jos Plateau State and not in River State, by the way.
I mean, all parties have submitted their register to INEC, and I think the deadline is in effect. So there's nowhere to go, nowhere to run to as we speak. So you stay where you are until the next election cycle. Stay there.
Stay there. Don't move. But there's a video that came out that is in circulation where the governor had cleared all doubts and rumors that, listen, I'm still with the All Progressives Congress. I'm not anywhere, you know. Okay, let's just take a look.
There's been a lot of drama in the media, one story and another. I'm a member of the All Progressive Congress, and nothing has changed. People should stop using whatever situation that they pick up from the social media or their own interpretation of any situation to present me wrongly. I have not gone anywhere. I'm still a member of the All Progressive Congress, and I remain a member. Whatever happens, what is most important is supporting the overall interests of the party. This particular project, if you remember, when we came in, we had a situation that warranted our sudden visit, and it has to do with the issue of mental health issue. So when we came here for the inspection of the rehabilitation center that the board was trying to put together, we found out that we had other issues more than even the mental issue. We didn't have a general hospital that would service the people within this area. The closest medical center that we have here is the University, the Pedagogical Teaching Hospital, which is very far from here. And we felt with the space in this compound, it would be proper for us to also have a general hospital situated in this particular vicinity that would take care of the neighboring communities, extend to Rumola and Rumolumene and all those areas. And to the glory of God.
That's the governor of River State. I mean, that's like a clear shot warning that stop taking stories from social media. I'm still in the APC. Don't spread rumors that are fake. And I'm still there. I still remain there. This is quite different from the fears. I was thinking that a journalist would use the opportunity to ask him, how did your screening exercise go, Your Excellency? Was it smooth? Was it fair? But I didn't hear any of those questions.
But it's good to hear from the horse's mouth. He's speaking with a lot of confidence. And I guess time will tell. We'll get a clearer picture of what is happening in his home state.
I didn't see any rumor per se, so I was kind of taken aback when I saw the news of him saying that he's still very loyal to the party, because, I mean, you just joined, of course, you will be loyal to the APC. So I was taken aback about, debunking rumors of him trying to defect. But like you said, we should have addressed the issues that are on the table that really have the rumor. Really, I think the rumor that everyone wants to clear or not is whether or not you've been cleared and rescreened. So I was taken aback when you're talking about loyalty. So that's not what. There's rumor that the screening did not go well. There's rumor that you most likely may not clean the ticket. Every other state governors are getting consensus to run for a second term besides yourself, sir. So, sir, that's the thing we want to hear.
So there were two questions I would have asked him.
So, yeah.
I would have said, Your Excellency, please, may I ask, how was the screening exercise? Were you screened successfully in Plateau State? And when he doesn't answer, I say, Your Excellency, second question, do you believe and are you convinced, can you confidently tell the people of River State that the second term is
guaranteed
and you're coming back?
Yes, that's what we wanted to hear.
Then
So
we move on.
Then we move on.
Yeah,
Is it that he answers
you debunk all rumors.
Yeah, so I think that's what we want to hear. But also, it's very interesting his demeanor when you watch the video. How very he's always always has
a
like
calm person.
a no verve. When he's talking, it's no passion. There's no pep in his voice.
It's calm.
It's it's monotone, and it's quite interesting. So. I don't know if you've done well to debunk the rumor with that type of tone. You might want to grant an exclusive. Please reach out. We're waiting. We're waiting for your team to reach out to us and talk to us. And we'll be more than happy to have that conversation with you, sir. We wish you all the best. We really hope that the winds will be under your wing and sail you to clinch that ticket to run for a second term. Because I think, and we all think, and I believe that the people of Rivers State believe that you deserve a second chance to drive the state for a second term.
It's the people that will choose.
It's the people that will choose. It's not for me to say.
Yeah, no, I think that people want you to run a second term.
It's their prerogative.
It's their prerogative. The politicians will do the politicking.
Politicians.
We just report what we see.
Yeah, that's it. We just ensure that we'll find the details inside of the story. But very quickly, let's go straight to YouTube. Thank you so much for our comments. I just realized we haven't taken. Okay, some greetings. Good morning, Joe, Judith. They said Bengus. Okay, Henry says Governor Fubara should stand up and fight like a man. That's what he says. Another one says Fubara is a weak governor. The same Henry again. And in our previous interview, someone said the APC member who joined had nothing to say, but he had to defend his party and so on. But that's fine. We'll go to a quick break.
And then, before we go on a break, when people say he should stand up and fight like a man, do you want him to start throwing blows around? How exactly is he supposed to? I mean, he might have his cards close to his chest and it might have a strategy, but I don't believe, a lot of Nigerians just want gas bills for entertainment value, not really because of what will benefit the people. They just, Wike said this, he said that, he said this, we've been reduced to a Telemundo type of drama situation where people get excited by, the insults, the mudslinging and all of that. We really should move beyond that and focus on the issues that matter the most.
I also think that sometimes Nigerians are so used to you not going down without a fight. Does that make any sense? We're used to at least give one last struggle. Don't just give up. Push. Let's just one last push. You're giving up so easily. Come on now. I think our culture is so used to fighting to the last breath, So I guess that's also where that's coming from. Just don't give up. Have you lost to the fighting spirit?
And as far as I'm concerned, we don't know what happened in the screening exercise because we weren't there. So until the APC River State chapter comes out to tell us that he didn't pass the screening, until the governor says something with regards to that, I guess we just have to wait and see. It's all speculative at the moment.
Kind of like ringing in my head, was the move to the APC the best move he could have achieved?
I mean, damned if I do, damned if I don't. If he stayed in the PDP, problem.
I think
another problem.
I think it was also part of his deal to get reinstated back as governor after the suspension. I guess that's what it is. I also think that maybe he must have made the move to sort of see, because again, he wanted to show that I'm cooperative. I'm very cooperative. I'm with the. I think that it was all a political move on his part to show that he was willing and able and be, to Baba Sokwe. But unfortunately, it just hopefully goes according to how
it shouldn't work towards that angle.
Maybe that's why I still pledging loyalty.
Well, we'll go on a quick break. When we come back, we'll be looking at the front pages of the newspapers. We do have our newspaper analyst who's in the house. Besides that, we'll also have breakfast headlines. Thank you for staying put. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Hello, welcome to Breakfast Headlines. I am Benga Borowa. We begin the news in Abuja, where the FCT police commanders pledge closer collaboration with the International Federation of Women Lawyers, FIDA, Abuja branch, to strengthen human rights protection and improve support for vulnerable persons. Commissioner of Police Ahmed Sanusi gave the assurance while receiving a delegation from the organization during a courtesy visit to command headquarters in Garki 2, Abuja. The delegation, led by Chairperson Choma Onyenucheya Uko, commended the command's efforts in maintaining security across the Federal Capital Territory and called for stronger coordination on gender-based violence cases. The police commissioner also directed the deputy commissioner in charge of the State Criminal Investigation Department to deploy gender desk officers to work with the group in handling cases involving vulnerable persons. A public outrage continues to trail alleged encroachment on Abuja's Jabi Lake Park as activist and leader of the Revolution Now movement, Omoyele Sowore, met with business operators and residents at the recreational facility. The gathering forms part of a growing campaign to resist what the protesters described as the unlawful takeover of the public space for private interest. Demonstrators accuse the FCT Minister Nyesom Wike of fencing off parts of the park.
A lot of people who cannot afford to go to very expensive supermarkets and restaurants in the city bring their loved ones here. Yes. People even come here to worship once in a while. Yes. People come here for photo shoot for their weddings. Yes. People come here for educational purposes. Yes. This is the biggest place where you can find people during Salah and Christmas. Yes. We are giving them 7 days ultimatum to remove any encumbrance that is interfering with park life. Yes. If they don't, Nigerians can take down the wall.
Before you revoke any land and give it out, it must be for public interest, yes, such as a school, a hospital, or whatsoever. In this case, can we ask, are they revoking Jabi Lake for public interest?
No.
If not because of this demarcation now, you see some people that had left home since morning, they couldn't get money. They will come here and relax their brain. And this is what Wike wants to take away.
I finished school 1995 and not get work. Can't reach now. I not go face a bad government, but whatever it is. Now this park, I tell they do my yoga, I tell they maintain myself.
It is Nigerians that are making their way through life in this park. It is Nigerians that have always been active in this park. And it is Nigerians that deserve this park. Yes. There's no reason to take this park away from the people.
In the meantime, FCT Minister Nyesom Wike has reaffirmed that the administration's commitment to urban infrastructure, dismissing criticisms regarding recent judicial projects in the capital. Speaking in Abuja during the visit from the body of benches, Wike directed the immediate construction of an access road to the organization's new annex building, assuring the delegation that the project, along with the main office complex, will be inaugurated and officially handed over by June to enhance the efficiency of the legal profession's highest decision-making body. Wike also hit back at recent comments by the Nigerian Bar Association chairman, Alpha Mosigwe, who suggested that building houses for judges could compromise their independence.
I've always said that you cannot bring down your own house. You cannot come to the public and denigrate their own judges and justices. They are not carrying the houses back home. Government is merely providing an enabling environment. That alone will even give them the independence we are talking about. I don't know if executive can give money to build. That will not be compromised.
French President Emmanuel Macron has called for an African-led solution to challenges facing the continent following a trilateral meeting at the African Union headquarters in Addis Ababa, Ethiopia. The meeting brought together African Union Commission Chairperson Mahmoud Ali Yusuf and United Nations Secretary General Antonio Guterres to discuss a regional cooperation and international partnerships. Macron said African issues should primarily be solved and coordinated by African institutions and leaders through collective engagement. The visit to Ethiopia marks the final leg of French President's African tour, which stops in Egypt and Kenya, where he attended the Africa Forward Summit and held bilateral talks with Kenyan President William Ruto.
Nous considérons que les problèmes africains doivent avant tout être réglés, coordonnés par l'Afrique. Et que l'instance légitime est l'Union africaine. Je l'ai dit, face à toutes ces crises, la France s'est toujours engagée ces dernières années à soutenir les médiations africaines. Et donc nous soutenons véritablement la coordination sous l'autorité de l'Union africaine de ces médiations. Et il est important, d'ailleurs la déclaration de Nairobi a été très claire sur la nécessité de maintenant en finir en particulier avec les ingérences extérieures qui nourrissent beaucoup de conflits, je pense en particulier au Soudan, ou la privatisation aussi croissante de beaucoup de conflits qu'on voit sur le continent africain.
A high court in Zimbabwe has cleared former Foreign Affairs Minister Walter Nzembi of corruption charges linked to his time as tourism minister under former President Robert Mugabe. Nzembi was accused of abusing office by donating television sets meant for public viewing to churches before his appointment as foreign minister in 2017. The former minister was arrested after the military-backed transition that brought President Emerson Mnangagwa to power and later left the country after securing bail in 2018. He returned to Zimbabwe in 2025 and was rearrested at the Harare International Airport before securing bail again 2 weeks ago. The court ruled that prosecutors failed to prove the allegations against him. United States President Donald Trump is holding talks with Chinese President Xi Jinping in Beijing as both leaders discuss trade, Taiwan and Iran. The meeting at the Great Hall of the People is focusing on wider economic and security concerns between the world's two largest economies. Xi says stable relations between both countries remain critical to maintaining global equilibrium. The Chinese leader emphasizes that mutual cooperation benefits both sides, while direct confrontation threatens international stabilization. Trump says Washington and Beijing can strengthen the cooperation and improve bilateral ties significantly. The American administration continues discussions on key issues while looking to secure expanded market access for domestic industries. The summit marks Trump's return to China after 9 years. Deliberations continue amidst a backdrop of rising geopolitical tensions and complex macroeconomic shifts. Now that's all on Breakfast Headlines. I am Genga Borowa. Breakfast Central continues shortly.
Thanks for staying with us and welcome back to Breakfast Central. Don't forget, this is the part where you can call in and let us know your thoughts on some of the stories. Let's get to hear your voice. The number will be there on the screen. Just dial. And don't forget to turn down the volume of your TV set when you call in and to react to the stories. Any of the stories we'll be bringing to you this morning. Joining us is the COO of Sustainable Stories Africa, Wada Hime is here live. Bonjour, bienvenue. Ça va?
Ça va bien. Good morning.
Good morning.
Morning.
Morning, Judith.
Good morning.
Great to see you.
Likewise, it's always wonderful to see you in the morning.
I was wondering if you were, good morning, as CEO of Sustainable Stories Africa, and you know, Africa is very central to what you do at Sustainable Stories. I was just wondering if you're at the summit, the Africa Forward Summit in Nairobi, and what you make of President Macron and, you know, the discussions that happened there.
Well, so let me put it this way. Whenever it comes to Africa, where we organize events, summits, and then we make pledges, but we really don't see those funds coming. So the money that is spent organizing all those events and bringing everybody, the flight costs, well, it's good for businesses in Africa, for those in Africa. But when you find out most of the people, either they flew with their private jets, monies that could be put in.
Is it another talk shop?
What's it called? Well, that's how I look at it. I really don't see anything at the end of the day. And that's my opinion.
Anyway, it's over now, but there's another, the CEOs are talking, CEO forum.
That's another one.
If it was CEO, you won't be here, you'll be there.
I'll be there. It's CEOs.
Since you are COO.
Since you are COO,
I don't need to
stay here
Kigali
for now and analyze.
And join us.
Let's look at what's happening in Nigeria first. Because it has a huge impact on Africa
the Punch
as a whole.
newspaper. Yes, can we have the front page of the Punch
The Punch.
newspaper up? They're leading with the very,
wow.
So very, I wasn't expecting this.
Wow.
And I didn't even know the spirit behind them making this offer. Dangote rejects NNPC offer to increase stake in refinery.
I love it.
The writer says refinery supplies over 3.2 trillion naira petrol to local markets in 3 months amidst falling imports. U.S.-Iran conflict boosts refinery earnings output climbs to 661,000 barrels per day. And it's not just boosting the refinery's earnings, it's also pushed up Mr. Aliko's earnings in billions of dollars. So it's been a good year for him. Dangote Group eyes $100 billion revenue target by 2030. And why refinery declined NNPC offer. What do you make of this from the face value of it?
And that's a big story.
You know, just before I came in and someone had posted this on LinkedIn, a very good friend and colleague of mine, and my first response to her was, this is private investor fighting back against states so that there is no state capture at the end of the day. That's how I see it. And what do I mean by that? You're buying the stakes, then you want to, and how much are they buying? I don't know how much the total quantity is. You had 20%, you sold it. And I'm sure they must have been pushed to sell it. Why? Because what then happens is you now start to, and I'm sure if they get up to 5% stake, they will want someone on the board. And you start, well, they might start to push the lingua that the businessman doesn't really want to hear. We've seen all the back and forths. Yesterday also it was revealed that they are not supplying enough crude to
the refinery.
To the
so
refineries.
That's the source.
Yeah, local refineries. And a number of reasons in my own opinion. One, you don't have enough to even give them, or from what you bring out of the ground, what belongs to you, there's a certain percentage that you can give them. Two, does the pricing work for everybody? That's those in the upstream, those in the trade, and those who are refining. Does it make more sense to sell it out or give it to them? But also, from a state perspective, that's your biggest revenue earner. So the more you sell, especially now that prices have been over $100 for close to 2 weeks, so the more you sell, the more money you make. And when you consider that 65 naira budget price, 100 naira, that's about 35 naira excess crude.
Well, Pauline, I mean, some important information to note here is that the NNPC, as at mid-2024, holds a 7.2% stake.
Yeah, so they want to increase it.
They want to increase
While
it.
they initially planned as a 20% stake, but NNPC failed to pay up the balance of the required
You remember
funds.
that drama?
Yeah.
Yes.
We discussed that drama here.
And
You want
yeah.
to reduce ownership percentage based on paid up capital.
Yeah, and that's
you
how
want something and you are not paying for it.
Remember that drama? At some point, we even asked why wasn't he getting the support he needed? And why just 7.7%?
No, so I think the first thing is they didn't have the money to pay for the extra. And by the time you juxtapose how much had been brought in by Dangote, by other investors in that space, NNPC had 7.7%. Now, when you have 20% stake in a refinery, that's a large stake. When you have 5% stake in a refinery, it's a large stake.
Right.
Do they have the money now that they're seeking to increase?
They don't.
So why are they seeking to increase?
I tried to explain that to you.
Right. There's also
You need to be on that table.
There's also rumors that Dangote the Dangote refinery most likely will have an IPO before the end of the year. Do you also think that would one of the reasons why they would want to reject this offer?
I don't think so. I just think he's a private businessman this is my opinion, please, is a private businessman who is trying to fight back against what he thinks is a state capture. That's my opinion. I don't think it's because of the IPO. If it was because of the IPO, then the NMPC should wait for the IPO and buy enough.
Yeah.
Okay,
Although
still on the front page.
It's more expensive. You have a
Still on the front page of the Punch, still all related. 500 billion naira fraud probe. EFCC detains Energy Commission DG. We've seen this play out a lot. I mean, there will be announcements of invitations, arrests. Just last week, a former minister's on Sunday, the EFCC put up a picture that she's wanted and things like this, but we end up not seeing of humanitarian affairs.
Oh, she's wanted?
Yes, they put up a post.
That was over the weekend.
3 years after?
Yeah, and then this. So
maybe
what do you make of
them
this?
3 years.
Is there something wrong with the system that can allow somebody? Are there no, checks or red flags that will prevent fraud of this magnitude? We're talking 500 billion in any currency. That's a huge amount of money to happen.
So the first thing about any fraud is that there must be at least 2 people. So if the system itself allows it, then it's not just, the head must be the one to carry the burden, and that's why this DG has been arrested to come and explain how these monies went or what the monies were used for. But it's a systemic thing, in my opinion, that has been used to take out monies, not just in this agency, but in so many agencies in the public sector. The same thing with the minister that was jailed, or the ex-minister that was jailed for 75 years. How do you take away 33.3 billion of project money without the connivance of those in the system, those who are carrying out the projects? So it's like
it's the only one that has been sentenced now. Where are the others?
Yeah, the head must be the one to.
On his head must roll.
So when you are doing a probe, the first thing is that you call the head because it's the one who gives all the final approval. Yeah. But sometimes, the head sometimes also could decide to take a fall because he doesn't want other powerful.
I heard that. I'm talking about that. The story. 33 points, still on the front page of the Punch. 33.8 billion naira fraud. Courts jails ex-power minister Mamman for 75 years, and I heard he's been jailed in absentia. That is currently on the run. This was somebody that picked up a nomination form a few weeks ago. So, where is he?
You're asking me, EFCC should find him. The one that...
I mean, as a political analyst, you should know things.
Let's take this call. We have a call, I'm told. We have a call all the way from River State. Sam, good morning.
Good morning, you all in the studio.
Good morning to you.
Good morning.
Governor Fubara debunked rumor of defection and pledge loyalty to APC. That is true. My governor will not go to any party. He will remain in APC and fight. If he wins the emergency victorious in the primaries, then all of us will work with him. But if another one emerges, I believe that my governor has said it all yesterday that whatever happens, he will work with APC. So that is to tell you that APC all the way in River State. So the rumor of defection, people should discard that. My governor has already cleared the air. I know you people are eager to know outcome of the screening. The screening committee will be the one to publish the result of the screening, not the governor. So if you want to get the result, ask them, not my governor. Thank you and God bless you all.
Thank you.
Frank
Sounds
like the spokesperson.
Yeah, Frank, I want to know if he also knows the lyrics of the song as well. If he knows,
Frank is gone.
Because at this point, all we need to do is just break into song.
Frank is gone. Frank said,
"What song is that?"
You don't know the song?
No.
On your mandate, you should stand.
No, that's not our song.
No, that's what I'm saying. Like,
I know she said the song.
Oh, okay,
not our
the
song.
But I'm even more. Frank is telling us no ask. We should ask.
People.
Yeah, but Frank is right.
Frank is
not
Frank.
Yes, he's been Frank. He's not the one to publish the outcome of
the screening.
Joe, I guess, let me just quickly say that. I guess it's because in Nigeria these days, are you with me? We set the exam, we write it, and then we score ourselves 105%.
So the question we asked, I mean, you get the point.
I was one who asked the question, right? So the question that we asked is this, and there were two things. You came out to lay to bear the rumors of you defecting, and I said, I didn't see any rumors of him defecting.
Yeah.
What we saw was the rumors about the screening not going well, and then it didn't help that when he came out, he said no comments, got in the car, and left. The only people who've been talking about the screening exercise have been those who are in the APC and those who appear to be in the Wike camp of the APC. And so it begs to ask the question of whether or not, simple, just put to bed our concerns. How did the screening exercise go for you? And like the other of your counterparts from other states, are you going to get a consensus? Or would you go through the regular exercise?
Well, like Frank said, he said you people should go and ask this.
But that's our job. That's
what we're asking. And I agree with you.
That's how we're journalists now.
So Frank, please respect us.
We have another caller from Delta State. So let's leave Rivers and let's go to Delta. Very interesting morning. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Ben, please go ahead.
I am Goben, calling from the Agbo Delta State.
Go ahead, please. Please turn down the volume of your TV set, Ben. Please do that for us.
Good morning. From Delta State, Goben. I am Goben, calling from the Agbo Delta State.
We will not be able to take your call. You have to turn down the volume of your TV set so that when you call in, it does not in any way affect the conversation. 33 billion naira fraud caught jails ex-power minister for 75 years. That's Nigerian Tribune is where I have segued into. Federal government fixes June 17 for digital switch. Oh, by the way, have you guys heard of the digital switchover? Federal government says from June 17, Nigerians will now enjoy over 100 channels free. It's going to compete with the likes of, on NTA.
But you have to buy a startup box or something.
What
it's
internet
actually,
connection?
It's Nicomsat. Yeah, Nicomsat. Finally, it's going to launch. Finally.
We've been on this issue for many
decades
years.
Or years.
Okay. And I hope News Central.
Congratulations to the DG.
Yeah, we've always been first when it comes
to. Once it comes alive,
then we cannot, like our caller will tell us, don't be too quick.
Let's
to
not be too quick.
Because I know what they told you.
Let
the person sit down first.
So based on this,
God willing.
Wait now, based on the statement, well done, and then when it kicks off on June 17, I would fully congratulate her.
Yeah,
are we going to have free football channels? Free tennis channels, free sports channels.
You have Indian League.
No, but where's the internet though? I think we need to discuss the issue. Look, initiative is great, ideas are great, but implementation and consolidation is where we always fall short.
Right? So Judith,
in the last 1 month, my internet provider, I'm not going to get into your names, it is insane how we. I don't have network connectivity. In fact, maybe they might even know me at this point.
Well, so let's be careful because there are a number of things that are going on in that.
Yeah, but she has a right to have if she's paying for a service. She
and I'm not saying that you see the best customer to have is one that complains and not one that keeps quiet. Are you with me? And discourages.
The best service to have is the one who improves on the complaints.
And I agree. However, but you know that in that space there are a number of things that are going on. There's a World Bank arrangement for the $2 billion, what's it called, system that is going on to increase by the end of, by the end of 2027 to about 60-70% internet coverage across Nigeria, and so on and so forth. However, that doesn't take away service delivery, which is what you're talking about, and I agree with you. If service delivery is poor, and it's not just on your network, it's practically every network. Because yesterday I was trying to send a 1 gig document or download it, and it took me almost 2 hours. So it's a general thing now, so people need to look at it. But also, let's also remember that there are issues relating to power. So a number of them are also facing those challenges. I'm not trying to make excuses for them, but
well, it's too late. You've heard the ship has sailed. It sounds like you are.
But let me help our audience benefit from that story. Nigerian Tribune. Federal government fixes June 17 for digital switchover. It says the Minister of Information and National Orientation, Mohammed Idris, says the federal government is set to launch a nationwide digital switchover DSO platform June 17 with over 100 free television channels for Nigerians. He spoke during a facility tour of the headquarters of Nigerian Communications Satellite Limited, Nicomsat in Abuja. So we'll wait.
And I hope a majority of those channels will be channels, because if you go to the, what they call those spaces in universities where people watch TVs?
Viewing centers.
Common
rooms.
Common rooms.
And butteries.
They're always watching Channel O, things that don't add value to their lives or their income.
So you say that they should have
We have a caller. Take back.
We have a caller from Australia.
Some of
Stanley.
I mean, majority
We have a
TV
caller.
viewers.
Let's listen to our caller.
Stanley from Australia. Good
Is he
morning.
calling from Australia today?
Or is it afternoon there? I know you guys are ahead of us.
It's about 9
Unfortunately, we
he's
lost
dropped
him.
the call.
Stanley, we're so sorry. If you can call us back, we'll be very appreciative.
Benga,
of that.
how can you say people watching Channel O?
There's no
or
Channel O anymore. It's
Yes,
and I didn't mean to call the brand.
And that's not called the brand. People watching music TV is of no value.
No, 24 hours a day.
Tony.
There's Tony calling us from Abuja. Sorry, guys. Forgive us. Tony from Abuja, many thanks for calling us. Please go ahead with your comments.
Good morning. My sister, Josie, well done. Good morning, gentlemen in the studio.
Morning, Tony.
Thank you very much. You know, it's a humongous amount stolen by a minister, a whole 33 point something billion. I don't know what is wrong with African leaders. The leadership position, you seek a position to uplift the welfare of your people, to make your country better, sweeter, and greater, to transform it, develop it. Why do we blacks in Africa? Why do we see leadership position as an avenue to accumulate wealth? Primitive accumulation. A minister, power minister, and after over 60 years, Nigeria is in darkness, and one man helped himself with 33 point something billion. In China, you are killed. They are killed. And because we don't have stringent measures to checkmate this. And I've been asking, all these ministers have been stealing on public. What about other accomplices? Is it one man that signed the check? What about the directors? All other accomplices. They should be punished. They should be brought to book, publicly shamed, and the money, for me, all the money recovered, their property recovered, and in fact, they should be banned from holding any public office in future. Thank you. God bless you. Have a great day.
Thank you for that, Tony.
And let me just add to what he said. Our focus should leave the jail term. Our focus should now be on EFCC saying they've seized properties, they've seized this, they've seized that. How much does it come to, and where is it going to be go to at the end of the day? Because we've seen all of those, we've recovered from this, we've recovered from that, 1 trillion here, 1 billion there, XYZ. But as I speak to you, and this is not just under this administration, under the previous administrations also, nobody tells us where that money goes back into. Does it go back into what we use towards funding our budgets? Does it go back into the projects themselves that had been abandoned? Because in Nigeria, we have since I was maybe like 10, 15, I've been hearing about abandoned projects. Only in this country do I hear about, government starts a project and is abandoned. It's ridiculous. It's ludicrous.
Anyway, we have another caller. Let's see. Hello, good morning.
Good morning, everybody.
Good morning. Sir. Thanks for calling.
My brother Benga, have you seen Nigeria is not poor? Nigeria is a rich country. Our leaders should stop deceiving us. Nigerians are borrowing money. Our leaders are borrowing money. Look at the way the money is going. Somebody, 33 point something billion dollars. Not, I can't understand. And they are jailing him 75 years. The man may be in one corner in this country, drinking champagne, laughing at me and you. The same way they declare Maina wanted. And they know the office of Maina where he was working. And they told us he's not being declared wanted. And we learned that Nigeria government even paid him. That was the story then. It's a pity the kind of country we are having. Some people that have purchased one, form or the other to contest office are being alleged either terrorism or financial, misappropriation. When they get into office, assuming that many of them win governorship or, office, they will be immunity and will be crying. Their children will be enjoying the money. Which country developed in that way? Which country? EFCC is watching them. What you hear is plea bargaining. At the same time, other people, they will encourage other people. Nigeria is rich. In fact, if it is possible, let there be a law. No country will borrow Nigeria money any longer because there is money in this country. God bless you people.
Correct.
Naira.
Is in Naira.
Is in Naira. 33.8 billion Naira.
And this will be the longest sentence given to any public official.
Do you mind?
But where is the official?
In Nigeria, 75 years. He's a fugitive at the moment.
And he's running consecutively, so he must spend 75 years in jail.
Do you mind me pulling up something?
And he tried to run for office, but
and he had his form. He was holding his form. So when he came to purchase his form, why wasn't he?
He was running for office. But let's also look at this. This case had ended a year ago. All the court proceedings, and then it takes 1 year.
So why did it take long? 1 year
for the judge, and he's our best friend judge. I won't mention names.
Okay.
I want us to pull up Punch newspaper, shall we? Just at the very top of Punch, just ahead of the headmaster, something very interesting that we most likely have missed. Presidential fleet operations gulp 4.24 billion naira in 6 months.
Do you know the price of Jet A1 fuel as we speak?
I want us to help us look at it.
No, but our president has to visit other nations towards ensuring that we can get the foreign investments that we require. I saw one of your headlines while he was passing through that the inflows into Nigeria at the end of 2025 was $66.2 billion.
So minus that
So that means, but this is 6 months, and you're talking about a year.
No. But I'm telling you that those inflows, based on that reporting, has grown, has it not? Exactly. So it could be part of it that
this is sarcasm.
Are you also aware that the new monies are about to be borrowed? The presidency says they will spend over 11.6 billion to pay.
We're about to borrow 1.25 billion.
And they will want to pay back debt over 11.6 billion.
No. What they're saying is that
yes, that's the story.
11.6 billion.
Yes,
possible. We can always come to arrangements and defer those.
No. The story is there. The story is right. It's categorized from the presidency. They're just preparing Nigerians
for debt servicing.
To get ready that this amount is going for
we've known that those debt servicing figures have gone up dramatically.
So why are we still borrowing more? Is it not counterproductive?
So my take is this: if you need to borrow money, then you need to borrow money.
Okay.
Now, when you borrow money, even as an individual, when you borrow money, you don't use it to finance a lifestyle. That's where the issue is.
Okay.
I don't have it. If Judy, just a second.
Yeah, speaking from both sides of
No, I'm not. I'm speaking to you as a financial person.
Okay.
I'm not speaking on behalf of
the inflows that came in a year after a calendar year. Does that include debt as well?
Oh yes, it does.
Okay, so what are we talking about?
Oh yes, but like I said, Judy, do you go to a bank and borrow money
to flex
because you want to fly to UK for holiday and buy clothes?
Some people do it for the gram.
For the gram.
And that's where the issue is.
That's what is happening now.
That's where the issue is. If you borrow money, it's for a specific thing. A project. Some of those 33.2 billion that we are talking about, some of it is probably borrowed monies towards developing Mambila. But we use it to finance different things.
And next year is an election year, so is it not dangerous? And
I don't support this borrowing, don't get me wrong. However,
of Nigeria.
One of the things I would say is I haven't seen the document of what the borrowing terms and what
nobody has seen that.
Exactly.
Nobody has seen it.
Someone put up a post on LinkedIn a few days ago, and I made a comment on this oil and gas that we're talking about that we're not able to give Dangote. And my first question was this: immediately this administration came in, are you with me? In 2024, how much did they take from Afrexim Bank? 3.3 billion. How was it financed? Your crude. I did an analysis.
In lieu
of cash.
Yes.
So what are we talking about?
So I mean, just to so we can move on. Do you think the national? I mean, because You said you haven't seen the documents. I haven't seen the terms and agreements.
And I haven't seen it.
But the people that will see the fine print, the senators, our representatives in the National Assembly, do you think they will approve this new loan request?
Oh, if he comes today, they will approve it yesterday. I'll leave it at that.
So are you making a case for this 4.24 billion naira in 6 months for a presidential fleet? Do you think that
No. See, we can make cases based on all the data that we have.
Or based on the data and being an economist, is this a right move to spend this amount of money?
Well, if your president is traveling often and a lot and with the cost of aviation fuel, yeah. And if, you see, the thing we should be asking is, are we seeing the dividends of all these returns?
But can you directly say all the inflows are tied to this travel?
Well, that's what. So, Benga, if you're there, what
I mean, because look at remittances, for example. So it makes up for a huge chunk.
Yeah.
Of my brother sends me money, my auntie, my uncle. It makes up for a huge chunk of inflows.
So let's be careful.
For you to say that
it makes up for about
$66 billion
wait now
is tied to the president's travel.
So
that's been disingenuous.
On the no. That's been unfair on you by you.
No.
On the average, remittances comes to between 15 and 25%. It had dropped significantly under the Buhari administration, but it's gone back up. So let's take a quarter of that.
Okay. Let's take Chimize. Chimize is calling us. I think the guys are calling. There's a big one concerning Nigeria's Fiscal Responsibility Act. Nigeria has not reported.
We need to do that.
We are doing that as a special tomorrow. Nigeria has not reported in the past 15 years. We've never seen this that bad. Hello. Good morning. Can you hear us?
Good morning. Yes, I can hear you clearly.
Please go ahead with your contribution. Thank you for calling.
Yes, I'm Chimeze. I'm calling from Kano.
Good morning.
Welcome.
Before I make any comment, I intend to ask a question. This very man that embezzles such amount of money, is he from which party? Can you tell me?
It's from the incumbent.
So, all right. What I intend to say is this. If this man were in APC, I don't think he would be jailed. And probably if he's in prison, and he now defeats to APC, definitely he'll be pardoned. You see, this situation in our nation is alarming in the sense that there are coverage that people that are probably in APC or who want to defeat you. Look at the case of Yahya Bello. Till now, since this man has defeated to APC, till now that man has not been called or to buy anymore to ask how far about the state money that he looted. And things is going on and on and on. And our leaders are so busy borrowing money. And at the end of the day, it's the masses that is all this borrowing they are going to leash it on us and our forthcoming children. It is hard time that we act, the masses. Let there be a protest in Nigeria. In fact, let there be a revolution. If not, we will suffer this thing in next 10 years. There are going to be a serious problem in this country that even you as an individual, you'll be finding a place to hide. So it's hard time that we talk less and act more. Come out the models of these Western countries that have progressed is because of the masses come out to protest. This is what the masses. Why do we call the democracy the government of the people, by the people, and of the people? We are not acting on that. So I still bring this whole thing back to we, the masses of this nation. In as much we have failed to act, we are going to suffer it.
Correction. Just for correction, Mamam Akwayang Saleh, former minister, is a member of the APC, okay?
And
as soon as he left, that's when Fashola actually took over.
And no, Fashola was first minister of power.
Was first minister of power then?
Was he?
Yes, he was.
That was after. Oh yes, that was after Fashola.
Oh yes.
Then
so
you had
after the Buhari administration came out.
I beg your pardon. Yeah, switch. Yeah.
So some of the reasons why we don't have
just to add to what Chimene said about protests. Sorry, is this, and I thank God Judith is here. I've maintained this for God knows how long. Your biggest form of protest is on election day. Your voter's card is how you protest. You go to that polling station, like I always say, there are 1,000 people registered in a polling station and 900 are there, and you defend your vote in every local government, 774 local governments, over 700,000 polling stations, your votes will count. Protesting and destroying Nigeria's property is not going to help us grow the economy. It will only destroy properties that belong to us that could generate revenue to us.
Now,
That's my point.
quick one. I would like to know your take on this. So the president is aware of this debt request, this debt burden, and he has cautioned that Nigeria's growing debt servicing burden is squeezing funding for healthcare, education, and infrastructure. And the president is now asking for reform of global finance to have, fairer terms fairer terms in terms of deals. So the president is aware, and is he shifting blame to where the blame shouldn't be shifted to?
Nope, I don't think he is.
Or should we just look at alternatives sources?
So you see, when you start to shift blame, the rates are high, XYZ, there are terms and conditions of a loan. Am I right?
Are enforced.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Exactly. Are you even implementing the loan in the right areas? Have we seen that? About 20 to 25% of the loans that have been taken by this administration is to do what? Improve
education.
No. Household welfare.
Household welfare.
How do you account for that? Part of the loans that have been taken is to build the
coastal road,
because I don't want to
super highway.
So my question is this: if you take a loan for a project of 8 years, I don't know how long that loan is. And that's what I'm saying. Nobody sees the terms and conditions of the agreement. Nobody sees the contract. The DMO will see it and tell you.
Even the bidding process, is it transparent?
And those are the things. So how do you expect monies to go into those things? How do we even monitor?
That's the thing.
And how much trickles down if you say you're spending to the average Nigerian?
See, to spend out of any bad situation, to go out of any bad situation is for you to spend. And by spending, it means that more people are getting monies, the velocity of money will increase. But in Nigeria, and I continue to say, it's 140 trillion naira in the economy, and the velocity is...
It's concentrated in the hands
No. Velocity is minus.
What you have that should be in the system.
The Russians will call them oligarchs. Yeah, the people that are controlling
they are oligarchs.
The means of production.
You see, a few people control everything, practically 80%. In the 80-20 rule, a few people, companies, corporations, control 80% of the businesses across the world.
It's an unfair system.
As you might call it that. Yeah. But they understand that when the velocity of money, so you pay your contractors, we've heard contractors shouting that they haven't been paid. You pay your workers decent money, you invest in projects that would create new employment. If all those things are not being done, well, we'll find where Mambila, 2019, this is 2026. That's 7 years ago.
They say the wheels of justice grind slowly, so let's be happy that we got a conviction from EFCC. And it's been sentenced.
I think we should leave.
And maybe there will be a bounty on him. It will be another way of generating money for the Nigerian youths.
I think we should leave.
Put wanted X amount of money if you can find
like they put
ex-minister.
Okay, that will work. Oh.
I guess so.
And as investigative journalists,
I won't be shocked if I see Bega driving like a madman looking for something.
I need money at this point. I don't mind.
Benga, do you really need money?
We all need money.
Yeah, we need money.
I do this job for passion, but I also need money to buy.
They pay you a salary, please. Don't go there.
All right, you know what? I want to say thank you for all of our guests who came in this morning. Many thanks to Wade as well.
Thank you very much.
All eyes are on tomorrow. The primary start for the APC. What's the future for River State? Who will lead come 2027? And not to forget, we'll be talking about debt and fiscal policy. Join us tomorrow, Friday, the last day of the week from us. Good morning.